Greetings, everybody, from the quarantine house of Ed Sargent here in Lakeland, Tennessee. Hope everybody's having a good evening. Want to start off by to welcome Keeping the Beat. Keeping the Beat's an engaging web series hosted live by TNMEA, Tennessee Music Educators Association, in partnership with the CMA Foundation. Tune in weeknights, Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Time to learn from and interact with music professionals from around the globe, representing every facet of the world of music. Today is Thursday, April 2nd, 2020. My name is Ed Sargent. I am the tour coordinator with Joan, Jett, and the Blackhearts. Tonight, I will be talking about from the classroom to the tour bus. Opportunities available in the touring industry with a concentration and focus on our students just entering the entertainment field. I want to do a quick overview. First, I'm going to hit my story, and I'm going to get through it because I think it's relative in the grand scheme of what the points I want to try to get across. Then I want to focus on touring opportunities out there in the business for those of you who seek and entertain the possibility of taking a job on the road as a touring musician or a touring production individual. And then I want to talk about the importance of mentors throughout the course of your career, and then we'll follow up with some more questions. But after each segment, I'm certainly open to some questions. And we'll just have a good time together. I encourage you to interact by replying to this video live stream with your questions and comments, which I will respond to throughout the hour with the assistance of our moderator, Ashley Ray. One disclaimer: while this is being streamed live, it will remain on the Keeping the Beat Facebook page for future reference. So as such, your comments will also remain a part of the archive. Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for joining me in my home, and I really just want to talk to the students about this funny business we're in called the music business. But first of all, I want to thank our healthcare workers that are out there on the front lines, and really these are the rock stars right now and what all they have to do with. So much love out to them and keeping them all in our thoughts and prayers. So first off, real quick, and I'll try to go through this quickly. I'm going to tell you about my story. My story is simple. I started at UTM in the fall of 1977. I was a music major. I managed to cram 4 years into 5. Our music department was a big fan of the touring band and trumpet player Maynard Ferguson. We had great trumpet players at our school, loved playing Maynard's music. We entertained the possibility, how do we get Maynard to UTM? So we're talking with Don Anthony, the band director, and he's like, make the call, Willard Alexander books them, So I, in my naivety, called Willard Alexander, talked to the representing agent. He asked me 25 questions that I didn't have a clue about answering, and that was pretty much it. It was a short call. I went back, talked to Dr. Anthony, things kind of, time passed. As much as we wanted to bring Maynard Ferguson's band, which was a favorite of a lot of us in the music department there at UT Martin, it went to the wayside until the next year. Then the interest and increased to a point where we started discussing it again. Stan Mark was the lead trumpet player for Maynard at the time. So I talked to Dr. Anthony. How can we do this? What can we do to involve the music department with somebody of this caliber and musicianship? So he says, Stan Mark, Maynard's lead trumpet player. I just saw a brochure the other day from Holton LeBlanc. Make the call. So he got me the number, and once again, I called Holton LeBlanc and talked to them about Stan Martin, the availability. And I had more of a game plan going in about what I wanted to do. What do you want? Well, we want Stan Martin. And his answer was, what are you going to do with him once you get him there? of which I didn't have a clue, but I thought it was pretty funny anyway. So anyway, so well, we want him to play with our band. We want him to play with our jazz band. We want him to play with our concert band. Does he have charts? So of course he has charts. This is what he does. So he gave me the list of charts. I took him back to Dr. Anthony and said, yeah, we're on to something here. How much? Well, I don't know yet. What's the fees? Integral part. Okay, got to have another conversation. So I went back and talked to Holton. Holton, so we cut the deal. Stan was coming in at the end of a Maynard Ferguson tour. 2 or 3 days, day of rehearsal, day of travel, day of the show, get him back out. Boom. Okay, we're on the books. It was great. So then I started talking to Stan. I was the liaison. I was the only person that he had contact with until we got into more music with Dr. Anthony and then scheduling a program. Concert band first, 4 tunes, jazz band. So as this evolved, Stan Mark comes to Memphis at the end of the tour. I'm the guy that goes down and picks him up. I'm his guy. And at the time, a production assistant that I wasn't even aware of the title, but I was his point of contact, brought him to University of Tennessee at Martin. He had 2 days at the end of the tour that it didn't make sense to fly him to Orlando, so he came in. So he spent a total of 5 days with us. During that time, he worked with the jazz band. We worked through the university on some public relations thing. I was his guy. Had a brilliant concert, tremendous success, hugs, kisses, left. It was great. Set the stage for bringing Maynard in the next year. The key, though, was the opportunity that I had with Stan at the time to talk about how do you book a show. He was mentoring me on the spot. Here's what you do. You call Willard Alexander. You get the booking agent on the phone. You find out with the routing sheet. I never knew what a routing sheet was. You find out Maynard's travel. Try to catch him coming through on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. Catch him coming through on, try not to take a weekend, get him coming through, put what money you can together, book a back end, X amount of dollars after X amount of tickets sold, etc. It's called points, which I didn't know at the time. It's a very feasible way of making money. Bring him in, utilize the resources through the university, throughout the high schools and colleges. To make a long story short, he told me how to do it. I made the call. We got Maynard in. And in the spring of 1982, it was a tremendous success. We had incredible ticket sales. It started out in the Harriet Fulton Theater. It's a 900-seat soft seat theater. We moved it into the field house. I think it was about 2,600 people there, $5, $7 tickets. We made money. The university made money, which they never did on concerts. It wasn't built like that. Maynard made his guarantee plus points on the back end. And I got to go back and see the artist at the end of the show. I never will forget Bruce Galloway taking me, Maynard's tour manager at the time, taking me backstage to meet Maynard. After a very successful show, I walked in. He was having a glass of Great Western Brut champagne, of which he offered me. I was so delighted and thought that I had hit the jackpot right then. So we had a nice conversation. And then as we were about to leave, he says, yeah, so what are you doing after you get out of school? And I whipped back at him, I'm coming to work for you. We had a big laugh. It's great. Yeah. He gets on the tour bus. I go back to class. I take my finals in the end of May. 5 days after the end of the finals, I get a call to come out to join the band at the Hollywood Bowl in Hollywood for the Playboy Jazz Festival. And that was the beginning of 24 years with Maynard Ferguson, who took me around the world. And because I made the call, and I will forever be grateful for him and his operation. And I thank the good Lord for having the good sense that once I got on his tour bus, to keep my eyes and ears open and my mouth shut. There was nothing more that I wanted to do than be on that tour bus and travel in the world. And maybe some of you students out there feel the same way. I want to be out there. I want to do this. I want to tour for a living. I started out as Maynards Valet. I was hired for the valet gig. What's the valet gig? Well, I didn't really know either going out, other than Stan was there. He was my mentor. He was not going to let me fall on my face. A valet is a personal assistant to the artist. It's basically what it is. You walk the artist in and out of the hotel. You go get them in and out of the venue. Your security. You take care of food, clothing, shoes, everything. Whatever it is, that's what whatever he needs, that's what the personal assistant job for the artist is. That was my first job. The personal relationship that I developed with Maynard, starting at that time, set the stage for the rest of my career. He knew what he had with me. Here was my job, whatever it takes. That was my attitude. It's still my attitude, whatever it takes. He knew with me, I would do whatever it takes to try and make him happy and for the success of his organization. And then key, that's been a lot, I think, of my personal success. But from day one, I was committed in this job to him for whatever it took, because I wanted to be out on the road. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to be a part of. And he opened the door that took me to 38 countries around the world over 24 years. We worked with a booking agent called Paradise Artists. Bill Manott, Bob Burke, Howie Silverman, Jim Lentz, wonderful people. We worked with them for years. They also happened to be booking Joan, Jett, and the Blackhearts for a number of years. Maynard passed away in 2006. After Maynard passed, I took some time off, worked with Steve Shankman, Contemporary Productions. Then out of the blue, one day I got a call from Bill Manott with Paradise Artists that I know you're taking some time down, but Joan, Jett, and the Blackhearts are looking for a tour manager. They're going out with Aerosmith. It's a 5-week tour. Don't know after that. Are you interested? I took about 2 seconds and said, sure, I would love to. I heard nothing but good things about Joan and the Blackhearts from the Paradise Artists agency. So I talked to Kenny Laguna, Joan's manager. The next day, this was a Thursday. When we pretty much locked it up, and he says, can you be in New York? Yes. When? Tomorrow. Went in, met with Carrie Ann Brinkman, the president of Blackheart Records, met with Elliot Saltzman, Joan's longtime business manager, and started working on the tour. That began my tenure with Joan, Jett, and the Blackhearts that has lasted for 12 years. It's been an amazing 12 years. The experiences and the people that I've gotten to work with under the umbrella of her touring so many wonderful acts has just really, really been amazing. In the last year, 2019, after 37 years on the road, I made a decision to come off the road, talk to Joan, talk to Joan's management, Kenny and Elliot, Carrie Ann. They offered the position of tour coordinator as we're going into this next season with a big stadium tour with Def Leppard and Motley Crue and Poison. Once the world becomes the world again, the tour coordinator position became available to me, and I'm forever grateful for them. That, in a nutshell, is the last 37 years of my life. It's 2020. I've had the most amazing, fun career. I don't know anybody's had more fun than me. I've been out there with great musicians, traveling the world. And it has just been amazing. And my road obituary could read from 1982 to 2019. I spent all of this time on the road. You sacrifice things on the road, cost me a divorce. It's okay. It was my decision. I don't have kids. That was my decision also. But I have had an amazing career, and that was also my decision. I spent 12 years with Joan and 24-ish years with Maynard Ferguson's band. I figured up today, for some odd reason, that I've done about 4,800 shows, 4,800 shows with Maynard, and right at about 1,000 shows with Joan, Jett, and the Blackhearts. And all of that started, and for the students out there, I really want, if you don't carry anything away from this time that we get to spend the night together, it all happened because I made the call. It's that simple. I made the call. I was not any more special than any of my wonderful schoolmates that I went to school with, but I was determined. I was committed to the cause. We brought Stan Mark in, and I made the call, and it turned into the most incredible career that I would love to tell you I had the brilliance of planning, but I did not. And if you think timing and luck is relevant, it is, because I am a prime example of that. That's me. That's in a nutshell. That's my career. That's how it's been. I've got a couple of more segments I would love to go to, but if there's any questions now, we'd love to field them just with regards to, kind of with me and my career and my years with Maynard and my years with Joan.
We don't have any questions at the moment.
Great. Perfect. Let's move right on to touring. Sorry, that's my home phone. It happens. So let's talk about life on the road. Life on the road, as well as opportunities in the workplace for the touring musician. And for students that have this grand illusion of what the road is, the road is difficult. The road is hard. You see oftentimes the end result, which is the glamour of the live show. The musicians on the stage playing amazing shows, which, if all of us behind the scenes do our job and all they have to think about is playing music, then we have done our job. Well, what's the road really about? Bob Seger wrote the greatest lyrics about the road that ever was in his wonderful tune, Turn the Page, and a great alto solo by Alto Reed, saxophonist. But it really tells the story in a nutshell musically about what the road was about. I realized from my first day that I walked on the tour bus and we pulled out of that parking lot. This is me. This is what I wanted to do. Oh God, please don't let me screw this up. I found through the years that I'm a gypsy at heart. I love to travel. I love to be with great people on the band. The turnover rate on Maynard's band was much higher than is on the Blackhearts, just by the nature of the jazz idiom and the scene and the musicians that we had on that band. Wonderful guys that came through that band. Joan's band is more set in place, longer time that guys stay in their band. I've just had the opportunity to be in both camps, seeing both worlds from a side that very few people get to see, but I love it. I've always loved it because it really reached what I felt was a common goal, that whether you're on the stage, you're off the stage, you're a part of the family, whether it's jazz, rock, whatever, it doesn't matter. The most beautiful thing about it is that we get to tour the world under the umbrella of music, sharing music. Well, what better way to spend your life to be involved with something that had to do with music? I played from the 5th grade all the way through college. Loved playing. Still love to play. Suck now because I don't play much. But that's beside the point. I was busy traveling the world with Maynard and Joan, and that's okay. But I still love to play. I can always be a musician. But my ego never got in the way of what the bigger picture was. It was my contribution to this production. What could I do along the way to make this production the very best that it could be? I want to talk to you about some job opportunities just in the touring, the road world. Has to do with, you kind of look at two different camps. On one side, you've got management and the different facets of management, and then you have the whole production side, which is an entirely different animal in itself. So if we look at management, the first thing that an artist does or needs is management. Artists by nature are not managers. And anybody can tell you this. They're not. They're very few of them are time conscious. Their priorities are in a creative aspect. Their brain thinks in creative aspects. They need managers to help them along, to plan their days, to lay it out for them. But I must say, though, that's a very true statement with Maynard Ferguson, and was for so many years. Joan, she's different. She's input of information, time conscious, schedules always. But even she has artist management. She's got great and fantastic management. So you got artist management, which is a personal manager. Personal manager looks over the big picture, even over the production, everything. Artist management, everything, the buck stops there with decisions being made. Business manager works hand in hand. Joan's got an amazing business manager, Elliot Saltzman. Long time in her organization, is the director of operations for Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Still does our business management with Kenny Laguna. Amazing. Booking agents. Booking agents, one of the most integral parts of putting together what we do in life, which is playing music. You have entertainment lawyers to have your best interests at heart, hopefully always. And you have good accountants, entertainment accountants. So for you students out there listening in this time that we're sharing together, if these things appeal to you, I've got some books I'm going to give you later that I think will be helpful just in formulating that. But if this part of management appeals to you, then seek it out. Do the research, do the due diligence, and find out what it is, how to make the call, how to get your foot in the door and start your path to it. I have a great story. I hired a valet out of Gadsden, Alabama, years ago. He had that whole attitude. I will do whatever it takes to be out on the road with this band. I want to be out of there's nothing stopping me. I am your guy. And basically, he aggravated the piss out of me until I hired him. His name is Kevin Meads. I brought him out. He was a pretty dang good trumpet player, too. Good enough that Maynard let him play in the section. And he not only did he build himself as a trumpet player, he was a great valet and totally on top of his game. Comes to me one day and says, I want to be a booking agent. I talked to Bill and Howie and Bob at Paradise Artists. That's what I want to do. I thought he'd lost his mind. I'm like, dude, are you serious? He's like, I'm quitting the band. I'm moving to LA. Long story short, he just made partner at William Morris Agency. Kevin Meads. He's my friend. He's my brother. I love him dearly. I am so proud of him because once he said, and he'd come by my house on his way to LA. Once he come by my house and says, I'm going to do this, I was like, dude, if there's anybody on this planet that could do it with your commitment and your determination, it is you, pal. And so many of you students out there, once you get this in your head and you see the path, you see the lane you want to follow, oftentimes You don't get to choose the lane chooses you. And if that's the lane that you choose, do the due diligence, seek your dream, and try to find it. Kevin Meads did. He's a full-blown partner agent at William Morris Agency, and he's got a nice big home to prove it. So that's what he wants to do. His passion found him, and he's very successful at it. Joan in the Blackhearts is blessed with good management. She has always been blessed with good management. Maynard, not, and it was kind of typical of the jazz world. Very few artists in that idiom, for some reason, had solid man. Now, certainly there are exceptions to the rule, but only until the end. Maynard's last 4 years on the planet and his touring, that we was in a position to make a change. In Contemporary Productions in St. Louis, Steve Shankman, the president, who is a great trumpet player and a great friend of our bands and loved Maynard, said that Maynard, I'm taking over your management. He'd watched it on the sidelines for so long that he decided, we've got to make a change. He's like, I will run $100 million a year company. I am sure that working with Ed, that we can make this happen. And he did. And it was the happiest 4 years in management of Maynard's career. And we actually got to do some projects that were very successful and very worthwhile as his days on touring and on this earth came to an end. Joan's management, methodical, structured, extremely bright people running all of the aspects of the show. They see everything that moves. If Maynard would have had management like this, there's no telling what we could have done. But Kenny Laguna, Elliot Salzman, Carrie Ann Brinkman, CAA, Rod Essig and his team, our entertainment lawyers, our accountants, all one big picture. Students out there, if this appeals to you, do the due diligence and go for it. Next phase that I really want to talk about, which is an animal into itself, is production. In the Blackhearts world, in the picture of our overall touring, I'll give you our scenario, and then I'd love to talk a little bit about overall tour production and the job opportunities that are available out there now. So in our particular operation with Joan, we have a tour coordinator, which is me, and I work with a very talented young man in Nashville. His name is Kevin Stoll. We borrowed him from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra camp. He's very bright, he's very competent, and he works so well with people, and I'm so delighted to have him in our family and in our camp because he takes good care of the people that I had the opportunity to take care of for the last 12 years. It is now in his hands, and I could not be happier because I think he is dynamite. So you have the tour coordinator and the tour manager. What we do basically, we live in the future. We live 60 to 90 days out. He and I coordinate along with management and make decisions with regards to movements, the touring operation on the road. We circle back, how do we want to lay this tour out with regards to movements, hotels, flights, bus pickups, private planes, in and out. Whatever it takes, it is the tour coordinator's job and the tour manager's job to be in touch on a daily basis with the management in terms of bringing together the whole operation. We execute timelines per management. Then you have the production manager and the production coordinator that execute those timelines. We establish them, they execute them. That is the chain of command. That's how it works in our organization and pretty much across the board. Tour manager, production manager. Production manager covers all aspects of the production, pre-tour, day of shows, it really encompasses a great field of what the production manager does, working in coordination and good communication with the tour manager and tour coordinator. Then you have the production coordinator that takes care of all things backstage. Very, very important position. We've had the opportunity to have some great production coordinators that deal with everything back of house, as they say. Production manager on stage, production coordinator, back of house. Signage, dressing rooms, movements to and from, and the most important question that you're ever going to get is, where's catering? All tour managers are aware of that one and know what I mean. But a production coordinator works with the production manager and the tour manager with regards to lead times, bus calls, movements in and out, when you tip the trucks, when you get on stage, who's supposed to be where, and runs the crew. Stage manager, it's typical. Stage manager works with the in-house people or the promoters and the local stage crew and establishing timelines when to set up the stage. We have a great one. His name is Zach Nagy. He's also Joan's guitar tech. Most all people in touring that do stage manager, production manager have multiple jobs out in the course of the tour. That's the nature of it.